The Chiefs just got some unfortunate injury news before playing the Giants on Sunday Night Football. But if you guys are new to this channel, my name is Michael Darcy, and you're watching the KC Sports Report. Do me a big time favor and hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe. I will say also, bear with me. I am a little bit under the weather, but that is not going to stop me from getting into this news for today, because unfortunately, the Chiefs are going to be without their star wide receiver, Xavier Worthy. According to Adam Schefter, Xavier Worthy has now been ruled out for Sunday night's game and is not traveling with the team. So Worthy went from practicing earlier this week to now being downgraded to out, and he's not even traveling with the team. So I guess any thought that we had that maybe he could play this Sunday against the Giants was just foolish. I thought it was realistic at some point because on Wednesday, Andy Reid said that there were no limitations on both him and Jalen Royals. And as we're going to talk about later on in this video, it's trending in a positive direction for Royals to play on Sunday, but I'd rather have Xavier Worthy on the field than Jalen Royals. I think part of that is because Royals is a rookie, and the offense is more catered to working around X's skill set than it is Royals right now. So that's a tough blow, and I know there's going to be some people out there that wanted to rest Worthy in this game because, the Chiefs can beat the Giants probably without him. But here's the thing. The Chiefs are going into a must-win game in Week 3. The Chiefs cannot lose this game. They cannot fall to 0-3 against the Giants. I don't care that you go on the road. I don't care. You have to find a way to win, and without your number one wide receiver, I guess your number two wide receiver, your other number one is suspended. Without those guys, it's going to be difficult because Russell Wilson in that Giants offense hung 37 on the Cowboys last week. They can score points. Malik Neighbors is a dog. Jalen Hyatt is incredibly good. They got Darius Slayton, a guy that we wanted the Chiefs to trade for last year. I mean, an offense that has two running backs like Cam Scatabo and Tyrone Tracy. Their offense has pieces. Now, the question is going to be, is Russell Wilson going to be vintage Russell? Is he going to throw the deep ball well? Is that going to burn the Chiefs multiple times? We'll have to find out and see. But I do think that, anyone that thinks this Giants team is a pushover, I don't care that they're 0-2. The Chiefs are also 0-2. And the reason they lost both of those games to start the season is because they came out and they weren't prepared. And I think that's a bigger issue. And so I don't care who the opponent is. You have got to find a way to win on Sunday, because if you don't, your season's over. And maybe I'm overreacting, but if you look at the amount of 0-2 teams that make the playoffs, I think there were 2 of them. I'm not sure how many 0-3 teams end up making the playoffs. Like, I understand the Chiefs had a really good start to their season playing a divisional team like the Chargers and then the defending Super Bowl champions at your house. That's tough. But guess what? At a certain point, we can't keep giving excuses for the Chiefs' schedule, because if they lose this week, at a certain point, you're as bad as an 0-3 football team if you lose. Now, the argument right now is that the Chiefs aren't as bad as an 0-2 team, and I do believe that, but I'm not going to believe it if you lose to the Giants. So there's a lot on the line going into this game. I think it's a must-win, and the Chiefs should be treating it as such, because if you lose, the Chargers play the Broncos. If they win, you could potentially be 3 games behind the Chargers. And so any thought of winning the division if you lose this weekend, they almost go out the window. And maybe that's premature. I think the AFC West is too good. And so it's a must-win game on Sunday. And we're going to talk about it because there's some other injuries that the Giants are dealing with that I actually think are going to benefit the Chiefs. But we also have more guys that aren't going to play for the Chiefs that we haven't talked about yet. But with that being said, let's go ahead and pull up this injury report. And I'll go ahead and minimize me because you don't need to see me. But let's go ahead and try to get into this. Mike Dana is not going to play with that quad injury. He's out. Christian Fulton, he is not going to play with that ankle injury. He's out. Now, we know Xavier Worthy, who was limited in practice all this week, He's just out. The Chiefs downgraded him to out. He's not traveling with the team. Now, this is yesterday's injury update, but it's the final one, the final official injury update. And on this one, Jalen Royals was limited in practice on Wednesday, but he was a full go on Thursday and Friday. And I think he's probably trending towards playing. And then if you look at some other guys that pop up on the list, not really worried about Josh Simmons. I mean, Hollywood Brown's always an injury issue. Jawan Taylor popped up on there with an ankle injury, and he's still dealing with that knee injury. But the biggest one that you see on there, Patrick Mahomes had a right wrist, and he was a full go all this week in practice. But the right hand of Patrick Mahomes should never be injured. If you see him pop up on the injury report for that, you should almost be a little bit scared. But going over to the Giants, they've got a couple guys that, are doubtful and questionable. And one guy that I want to mention that I think is a big one, Wan'Dale Robinson, the wide receiver for the Giants, is dealing with a foot injury. He was limited all throughout practice, and he's probably going to end up playing. Andrew Thomas, their tackle, was limited all week as well. He's dealing with a foot injury. He's questionable. And so the Chiefs are going up against a Giants team that isn't very good to begin with. But when you take into account all of the injuries that are going on for both teams, the Chiefs should beat this Giants team. And I think as long as they go out there and don't make mistakes and execute, they should win by a lot. And in fact, the spread in this game, I believe, is 6.5. The Giants cannot stop the run. They give up the most rushing yards in the NFL. 5.9 yards per carry is what they're allowing other running backs to do. The Chiefs have got to find a way to run the ball, and not from Patrick Mahomes. Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, Brashard Smith, those guys have to run the ball effectively, because if they can't against this defense, they're not going to do it against anybody. They've got a good front four in Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence in the middle, Brian Burns. They can sack the quarterback, but the back end of their defense, booty cheeks, not good. You should be able to pick apart that bad defense and score points. Now, will it end up happening? I don't know. The Chiefs haven't taken advantage of a lot of bad defenses, and that leaves me a little bit concerned. But I do want to talk more about my final score prediction for this game and some other stuff that I'm kind of looking for, and we'll do that right after a word from our fantastic sponsor. This video is sponsored by my friends over at DM Injury Law. Injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation, but time is critical. Rely on the experienced personal injury attorneys at DM Law, Kansas City and Missouri's top injury law firm. DM Law is a full-service personal injury practice supported by a large team of investigators, case managers, medical records specialists, and more. And best of all, you don't pay unless they win. DM Law operates on a contingency fee basis, meaning no fees unless they win your case. And they also provide free consultations. So if you've been injured, don't wait. You can contact DM Law today for a free consultation and learn how they can help you pursue the compensation you deserve. Let them handle the fight while you focus on healing. Hurt in a car wreck? Call Mike. Remember, Mike's got this. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement. Thanks to DM Injury Law for sponsoring this video. Huge thanks to all the sponsors that support this channel throughout the football season. But getting back into my prediction for this Sunday night football game, the battle between two 0-2 football teams should be a good one, should be fun, entertaining. Unfortunately, I don't think the Chiefs are going to run away with this game. My prediction all week has been sitting around like 24-17. I think the Chiefs get it done, and I think they cover the spread, which they have not done a lot over the past couple years. But I can't say that I'm confident that they're going to go out and beat this Giants team into the ground. I don't think that's going to happen just because they're kind of limited with what they can do offensively. They don't have their top two options. Jalen Royals is kind of an unknown for what he's going to give you. But I do think the Chiefs are going to go out there, handle business against a team that, quite frankly, you are better than in almost every single way. Maybe outside of getting to the quarterback, you are better at every single other facet. And so You should go out there on Sunday in front of the entire world and beat this Giants team, get your first win of the season, and then you worry about the Baltimore Ravens the next week. But at this point, this is a must-win football game. The Chiefs have got to go out there and put all of the noise to rest, put all of the doubts and all of the fears of the Chiefs kingdom, put those away. Just go out there and pummel this Giants team, or at least beat them, and give us something to look forward to, as we talk about next week's matchup against one of the best teams in the NFL. So I think the Chiefs will win 24-17, picking up their first win of the season. I also think Jalen Royals is going to play, which is a good thing for this offense, even though I'm not sure where he's going to fit in. But that's all I've got for this video. Again, Xavier Worthy was ruled out for this game against the Giants, and he does not travel with the team, so you're not going to see him down on the sideline. But hopefully the Chiefs will have enough offensive firepower to still get it done. Thank you guys for watching this video, and as always, go Chiefs.